Okay, so for this tutorial, we are going to import an SVG and turn it into the basic shapes we want cut out of acrylic. We're also going to use Fusion to help us figure out what it will look like when we actually make the final shape. So the first step, as always, is to create a sketch. I'll do it on the bottom plane. And before we import our SVG, we're going to go get a center rectangle, and we're going to make ourselves some a box that we can use to help make sure we get the sizing right. So for this project, your acrylic name tag can be maximum 80 by 80 millimeters in diameter. And so if I hit enter, I can make that box. And now these are solid lines, which means that Fusion thinks of them as part of our model. And I don't want them to be part of my model. I just want to have them to refer to. So over here in my dialog box, I'm going to go to line type and I'm going to click on construction. So now these are just construction lines that I can use to help me get the sizing right for my logo. Now I'm going to go insert SVG and I'm going to go get my SVG file. And so it'll paste it in there. So now to move it around, I can use the arrows, or my favorite is just to grab the box there. And now to scale it, I just discovered a new trick. There's actually a little scale drag bar there. And if I drag that out, it'll actually make it bigger. And if I drag it in, it'll make it smaller. So what I'm going to do is use a combination of the scale bar and this square here to get it to just the size I want, so it fits inside the box, so I know it's inside the constraints for this project. And I'm going to go finish sketch. Okay, and I'm just going to go turn off the origin for now so I can see the sketch better. So now I need to extrude the different parts, but this is different from 3D printing because I need to extrude each shape in a way that I can then get it be cut out of acrylic later. So I'm going to start with the outside shape here. So I'm going to hit E for extrude, and I'm going to click on here. And now what I want to do is make sure that I've got all the parts. So that's the outside, but I actually want that to be the same color as that. I also want this here to be the same color. So I've actually got, you can see here, I've got 3 selections. So if I just click OK, it's going to make 3 new bodies up here. And very soon I'm going to have like 20 unnamed bodies up here that are very hard to keep track of. What I'm going to do instead, and this is considered to be the best way to do this, is I'm going to go new component. So a component is like a collection of parts that make up one piece of your design. So I'm gonna, now the other thing I've got to do is give it a thickness, and all the acrylic is the same. It's all 3 millimeters thick. Okay, so you don't have a choice. It's got to be, it can't be more than 3 millimeters thick. So I'm going to click OK. Now, so there's my outside of my shape, but I don't really have anywhere to put a ring through on here. So before you go too much further, unless you decide to go with a rectangle shape, you could put a circle in the corner of the rectangle. I'm going to need to put a shape on here for the ring. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a new sketch on top here. And, oh, no, you know what? Let's not do that. So I'm going to finish sketch, and so this here I know is just an empty sketch. So rather than, so to clean up my timeline, I'm going to go delete. Okay, so what I want to do now, this is my component. So I'm going to rename it, and I'm going to call this outside. And I'm even going to put, I want this to be black. So I'm just going to put the color that I want on there. Okay. Now, what I want to do is I want to edit this first part of my model, the outside part. So if I go to my component, there's something called a radio button here. If I click on it, it will activate the component. And now if anything else I do is going to go into that component. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make a new sketch, and I'm going to do it on top here. And I'm going to go get a center diameter circle, and I'm going to just drag it out, make it about 10, I think. So this is going to be where I put my, oh, it looks like that's overlapping a little bit. So you know what? I'm going to double click on that and make it 9. And now what I want to do is, so I want to make this like a arch, like a hole that I can put a ring through. So I'm going to go use the offset tool. Click on the offset tool. So that'll make a copy of the shape I click on, and I can make the copy as far away from the original shape as possible. I can also make it go inside, and you'll see here, then it becomes negative. So I'm actually going to go -2. And I'm going to go, now let's see, so that's 9, so that's about a 4 mil hole. I think that'll be big enough. Maybe I'm going to go -1.5. And I'm going to go, okay. So now I just need to go extrude, and I'm going to extrude this. So what I wanted to do is I want to extrude it down this way, and so I could just put, and so you can see here when I drag the arrow it's minus. I could just type -3, but I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to go over here to my dialog box, and under extent type, you see it says distance. I'm going to change that to 2 object, and I'm going to click there, so that'll go to the other side there. And so then I'm going to make sure that this operation is joined, so it adds it to that. Okay, so I think I've pretty much got my outside shape. The last thing I want to do is change the color. So I'm going to go to modify, appearance, and I'm going to go and I'm going to find paint and glossy, and then I'm just going to drag the black color on top of that. Now I have to drag it on top of that as well, and I'm going to drag it on top of that. So that helps me to kind of picture what it'll actually look like. Okay, so I've now got my first component with all of its parts set up in here with the correct color. So in the next tutorial, we'll add the letters.